I recently came across a quote by Maya Angelou. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. And this instantly made me think about Ronit. Ronit's goodness and inner drive shine through like a beam of light. She has never been a person to rest on natural smarts. Ronit is not content with having just the correct or right answers. She has high expectations of both herself and those around her. Ronit is driven by curiosity. She is driven by success. And she is driven by the question, why not me? And why not Ronit? Why can't it be Ronit who asks the questions that push the class forward and enable a better understanding for all? Why shouldn't Ronit be a leader on the basketball team or in group projects? Why not Ronit? With this drive to learn, as if that wasn't enough, she also brings fun and, most importantly, kindness to all that she does. Ronit is comfortable as a leader and easily engages her whole group in what they are working on in fun and funny ways. Ronit sees challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow and to learn. This has made her so much fun to teach and to learn with. It has been a true pleasure to watch Ronit grow up at Akiba, and I am so proud of who she is now and on the path of who she is becoming. And without further ado, I introduce to you Ronit Radutny.
When I was in kindergarten, we were tasked with decorating a penguin and writing a question on it. The question had to start with, I wonder. Most of my classmates at the time wrote on their penguin, I wonder how cars work, or I wonder how people get to space. However, I asked nothing like that. I asked a question that Google, a book, nor a professional can answer. I wonder when I will grow up. And yes, I spelled will and grow wrong, but I was 5. At the time, I immediately jumped to the conclusion that I will grow up when I'm 18, in college, and not live with my parents anymore. Well, hopefully. Now that I think about growing up, I ask myself, what does growing up really mean? Part of growing up is becoming more accepting, respectful, responsible, maybe even more patient. Growing up is learning new things and reaching new goals and standards. Growing up is meeting new people and opening yourself up to them. I've come to realize that Akiba is the place where I've started on my journey of growing up. My experience at Akiba began when I was 2 years old and in Ready, Set, Go. However, I remember nothing from Ready, Set, Go, so I'll go back to my first memory. I was in the green room with Emily and Angela when we were sitting on a rug and learning to recite the various noises that animals make. The teachers would say an animal and we'd make that noise. When they made X with their arms, we would stop. But when it came to making a buzzing noise like a bee, I did not stop. I continued to make noises, and my teachers taught me the consequences of what that meant. The game was over. To me, this was ultimately the start of when I would talk at a turn and have side conversations in classes. As a social person, it's hard for me to remove myself from situations where I have something to say, but I know I should not say something because it could be consequential. This was particularly difficult for me in lower school. Even though I do still fall back into those habits, I have become more aware of this and I am even able to control it. Well, most of the time. See, there's still a lot of growing up to do. Mortary, I know I've always talked in your class in particular, and I've gotten your nerves for this many times. However, you've taught me so many important lessons that I will never forget. I always have so much fun learning while laughing, and I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to be in your class since 4th grade. We certainly don't act very grown up around you. Akiba has taught me a very valuable and important skill that is certainly part of the growing up process. Leadership. When I think of this, I think of 2 examples come to mind. A basketball team and science class. I joined the basketball team as a 5th grader. I wasn't familiar with the idea of being a leader as I was on the younger end of the team, but as I became a 7th grader, I was able to lead on and off the court. Thank you, Mr. Essie and Coach Lee, for pushing me to become a role model and player throughout the 3 years that I was on the basketball team. I carried these skills with me to science class. In science, there are many opportunities for me to grow my leadership skills with the many projects such as Mystery River, Rube Goldberg, the Dollhouse Project, and many more. I was typically in a group with 2 or 3 other people, most of which were boys. One day we were getting assigned our groups for a project. Miss Raffel pulled me aside before class and told me that she rarely puts one girl in a group with all boys because they would dominate that group. However, this was not the case for me because Miss Raffel knew I would not allow myself to be the tape dispenser and I could rise as a leader. Thank you, Miss Raffel, for believing in me and instilling confidence in me and my work as a student. You've allowed me to grow from an intimidated 3rd grader to a confident student and most importantly, helped me solidify my love for science and medicine. Growing up at Akiba's also introduced me to the ideas of responsibility and independence. I remember at the end of second grade, my classmates and I were agonizing over the thought of having responsibility of homework in the upcoming year. Now that I'm in 8th grade, I have realized that having responsibility can sometimes be challenging, but in the end, I cannot rely on others because the only way to grow is to face the challenges independently. In 6th grade, I was dreading the upcoming school year when I would have to start a new class, humanities. Many of the students in the grade above me would tell me how stressful and strenuous it was. While most of what they said was true, it was also very manageable because of the skills that Ms. Chipman has taught me. Thank you, Ms. Chipman, for teaching me how to effectively manage my time. As much as I hate having to do journal prompts, especially on Poetry Day, you've always taught me to be persistent. You've always had faith in me and my abilities, especially when I didn't, and I'm very grateful for that. Every teacher I had at Akiba has impacted my journey and helped me grow. I have been in Akiba since I have 2, and if I named every teacher, this would be quite a long video, and I'd probably leave some out. But it's my fellow classmates, my amazing 8th grade peers that have grown up alongside me and have been enjoying this journey with me. I don't think I will ever meet a group of people as amusing, intelligent, generous, and thoughtful as you. From our endless inside jokes, experiences, and arguments to our latest camping trip, you have always filled my life with happiness, debate, and excitement every day that I come to school. If it wasn't for you, who would I be talking to all these years? Myself? Speaking of talking, no one knows me more about talking than my family. Thank you to my parents and grandparents. If my mom did not call and speak to Millie 12 years ago, I would not be here today. And no one has heard me talk about my experiences more than my brothers, and join next year without me bossing you around. As I get ready to leave Akiba, I think of the first pasuk of Genesis, chapter 12, Lech Lecha. Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. While I leave Akiba, but not quite my father and mother's house, I am forever grateful to the people who have helped me grow as a student and person. Akiba is forever my home, and we all know at your home you never really have to grow up.